Hello fellow gamers. Today's subject is on the Entertainment Software Rating Board, or ESRB, the Age Content Rating Board used in North America. The ESRB was required for all platforms since 1994. Back then, there were 5 simple ratings for games. There was EC for early childhood, games for the preschool audience, KA for kids to adults, for general audiences, T for teen, for games that go over general but below restricted, M for mature, for games restricted for adults, and AO, which we will get to later. Of course the KA rating was replaced by the E rating in 1998, and only a year after that in 1999 the ESRB letters were turned to solid black to make them more legible. The E10 Plus rating was added in 2005, and since then the ESRB has been rating games this way. The rating that's the subject of today's video is the most controversial and most interesting rating, the AO rating. This is the highest rating that can be given for a video game, and is restricted strictly for adults to a high degree. The required ages for M and AO rated games are only a year, but the difference comes in distribution rather than ages. Whenever you go to a local game store, from what you could probably remember from all your life, you have most likely never seen a physical game with an AO rating pasted on it. The M rating is the highest rating most game stores will accept. Any AO-rated games are restricted to sections not in plain view from children. The 3 big gaming companies all have policies that do not allow AO-rated games to be released on their platforms, so the only platform you could find AO-rated games are PC. Because of strict restrictions on this rating, there are very few games with this rating. There are only somewhere around 25, in absolute total, games that have this rating. That's about only 2 times as many games as the Virtual Boy. That's shockingly low. The AO rating seems more like a barrier for M-rated games for the developers to restrict how much sexual theme they put in the game. Getting an AO rating is like a death sentence for the developer of the game. All of this has brought up question on if the AO rating should be abolished. One thing I'd like to bring up before we go on is that many people like to compare the AO rating for games to the NC-17 rating for movies. Of course NC-17 rated movies might seem like a death sentence to the filmmakers because the movie is heavily restricted from general movie theaters. However, one catch is that when they're released for home, they are regularly released as unrated rather than NC-17. And we all know how much unrated movies make. Pretty much all of us have a few unrated movies in our movie collection. The unrated rating is the main reason that NC-17 is not an absolute equivalent to AO-rated games. Now, as I said before, many think the AO rating needs to absolutely be abolished and has huge flaws with it. Me, however, I don't think the true problem is with the AO rating. I'd say the problem is with the M rating. The restriction on these games is taken so lightly that the AO rating serves a necessary barrier. I think ESRB in general should probably make some alterations to its entire game rating system. Over in Europe, they have a much better system, known as PEGI, or Pan-European Game Information. This is clearly a much better rating scale than the ESRB by a lot. The 18 rating for PEGI is not restricted to the same degree that the AO rating for ESRB is. And you could find many 18-rated games at game stores throughout Europe. Another country with a much better rating scale is Taiwan. Something like this is what ESRB should incorporate. But yes, the AO rating, should it stay or should it go? Leave a comment telling me what you think should happen with this rating or ESRB in general. Anyways, thanks for watching.